Welcome to the growthscalers channel, and today in this video we're going to talk about 5 bottlenecks that are quietly holding Amazon brands back. And what's most interesting is that these are not things we pulled out from some textbook or marketing theory. These are actual patterns we see every single week with the businesses we work with. We've seen brands that are doing anywhere from 500,000 to 1 million to 5 million, but when you open the account, something in there is not clicking the way it should. And sometimes revenue actually looks very okay on the surface, but underneath it, there's usually some bottleneck that is slowing them down. In today's video, Kai and myself are going to break down 5 of the biggest bottlenecks that we see stopping brands from scaling on Amazon. Here's some little assignment for you as you watch this video. If you're running an Amazon brand, quickly recognize or spot if any one of these bottlenecks might be happening inside of your account. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you get notified every week when we release a video like this. And if you want some second eyes on your Amazon store to see whether you might be leaving some money on the table, use the link in the description to book in a free audit call and speak to our team.
What I wanted to talk about today is the main bottlenecks, barriers that people psychologically put themselves through before they take that next step to improve their Amazon brand. Whether they're at 500,000 and their goal is to get to 1 million, whether they're at a couple million and their goal is to grow even further from that, a lot of the time we're faced the same kind of barriers, and it's really on getting cold feet just before you jump into and say, okay, I'm going to commit to get going at this and really make a change for my business for the better. And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today.
So key point number 1, talk to me about time and resources. How does that stop them from being successful on Amazon?
A lot of times what happens is I will talk to someone and understand what are their bottlenecks in their account on Amazon, for example. They'll tell me everything. We'll do a full audit. We'll get the team on, develop a brand strategy. It is exactly what they need. And they're like, wow, this is perfect. I really want to move forward with this, but I'm getting some cold feet. So this is what I was saying. There's a lot of different things. One of the main ones is I don't have the time or the resources. I'm just going to be completely honest, and some people might get offended by this, area, but you didn't have the time and resources before and you were struggling and you remained at this stage. Now, if you don't have the time and resources to hire a complete full team that you can trust to get the job done, then
How do you scale?
how do you scale? Exactly. So the way I want to answer that is if you have someone that you can trust, you have a team, you understand what their capabilities are, then the only thing that this team really needs from you as a product and brand expert is to be present as the one that communicates the value of your brand, of your product, to show up to meetings, to say, hey guys, I want to lead this in this direction. This is how I want to communicate our unique selling propositions to our customers. And that's it. The team that you choose is going to take care of everything else. If, of course, it's full account management, they take care of everything else. So time and resources is a barrier that doesn't always make sense. Now, if we're talking monetary wise, it always is, you got to spend money to make money. That's everyone knows you got to invest in order to grow the business, because where you're at right now, this is how much you're making. This is how much you're spending to make this much. But if we dissect what you're doing wrong, what opportunities and the challenges are really opportunities to grow. Where are those? Where can we improve those margins so that that business takes off? Then that how much am I paying every month is really not going to be a problem anymore, because you're going to see that back in your bank account.
The second bottleneck that would always stop Amazon brands from being successful is trust issues. And we've talked about this a bit on the channel. Do you want to talk to me about the role that trust plays in this?
That's a very common thing. Like you said, talk to several people and they all have said, well, I'm not 100% sure about this because I've been burnt 1,000 times before. People will overpromise and underdeliver, and that's it. It's ugly business. But I don't blame anyone that feels that way. It's sad because it's the way it's the way of the business world. A lot of people are just here in it for just, turning business, but it's not uncommon and it's a valid concern to have. So one approach that we're taking to make people feel a bit more comfortable is honestly something like shooting this video. We've had years of success with several clients, growing them to various different sizes on various different channels. And that's why this year we're like, we really want people to see from an outside perspective what it is like from the inside of growth scalers. At the end of the day, anyone can give a referral from a happy client. Anyone can give a testimonial from a happy client. Anyone can give a case study from a successful client. So these are all very biased things. So it is hard to kind of get over that trust. It's understandable. But one thing I would say to someone who is currently looking for an agency to choose is really do your due diligence on that end. Talk about, what mistakes did you make? When did things go wrong? What happened then? Why did those mistakes go wrong? Really try to understand, how does this agency work? Am I being sold into something and then I completely get that initial person I was talking to just leaves and I'm moved on to someone else and they have no idea what we talked about, because the person that first was in contact with me knows all of my problems and should be there from start to finish because he knows what my concerns are, my goals, and where I want to get to. That's definitely should be one of your concerns. So I would really trust your business instincts. Make sure that you are ticking all of your boxes and asking as many questions as possible. Understand what they're delivering, full account management. What does that mean? What do I have to do? And obviously, you want to know what results are going to come
Yeah.
with that, but understand why. Why are you giving me these projections? Why are you giving me these sales forecasts?
Mhm.
Anyone can throw numbers on a screen, but we need to understand why.
The way that I think about it when businesses say that they can't invest because they don't trust. I remember asking someone a question and I said, "For how long have you drunk wine before?" He said, "For several years." "Have you ever drunk bad wine?" "Yes, all the time. Of course, I drink bad wine." I'm like, "Oh, okay. So you've drunk bad wine before, but you've not stopped drinking wine, right?" So the problem is not necessarily that we have a trust issue, is that we have let that to block our way, because just like we would continue to consume wine, when you pick a bottle of wine from the shelf, if it's not good wine, what do? You take note of it and you no longer choose that. You move to the next one. So if we think about it from that perspective, it was just like you said, due diligence. Part of that due diligence could be you making a checklist, making sure that the agency you're speaking to is ticking that.
100%. And sometimes it's just like you said, how do you really know what you're looking for also? Maybe you don't know until you've spoken to a few people that's like, okay, these are important criteria I should be looking at. I'm currently going suit shopping for a tailored suit, and I have no idea what I'm looking for. But once I see different models, I'm like, okay, this has to be this texture. I want it to be this color. I want it to have this kind of styling. And I want to look for all of these different things that I am an absolute noob in terms of dressing up in a suit. But once I'm going through the process, I'm like, okay, you know what? Now I'm becoming a little bit more nitpicky on the things that I exactly want. And maybe I don't want to go to this tailor. I want to go to someone else because I've started picking up on certain things once I'm in the buying process. So that's definitely something that you want to take into consideration.
Kai, let's talk about the next problem that stops brands from being successful, and I call it the DIY problem, the do-it-yourself problem. Talk to me how this affects success on Amazon.
That's a very common one as well. You come to a decision-making point and you're like, man, this looks really good, but do I have the investment for it? Am I ready to commit and make changes so that I can actually benefit from the business? At the end of the day, it's always an uncomfortable decision. You're stepping out of your comfort zone and you're going for something bigger than what you're used to. So it is going to be an uncomfortable decision. But some people are a bit more risk averse in these scenarios where everyone knows as a business owner, there is a level of risk aversion that you have that allows you to take decisions that are going to get you to the next level. And so people say, you know what? I'm not ready. I want to stay in my comfort zone. I want to do it on my own, or B, find someone cheaper, find someone offshore, find a freelancer to manage it for me. The problem is, and I'm not making this up. This is off experience of people telling me this, coming back 3, 6 months, 12 months later and saying, "You know what? I tried my route or I tried their route." And the truth is they ended up wasting 3, 6, 12 months, 3, 6, 12 months worth of money and the opportunity. You figure it out the hard way. You've wasted resources, whether that's time, whether that's money, whether that's opportunity. And honestly, for me, the biggest one is opportunity. Because so many times have I talked to people a year before, say, no, I'm not ready. And then we speak a year later, we get started. And then a year after that, once we've doubled their business, then that's the moment where they realize, should have started this a year ago.
That kind of leads us into the next point, which is treating Amazon as a side channel. Talk to me about that. How do you think it stops brands from being successful on Amazon?
At the end of the day, it's about priorities. People who treat Amazon or other marketplaces like a side channel, it's going to be hard to grow those channels. I understand. You want to grow more of your business to your direct consumer website. That should be your priority if that's 80% of your business, for example, or you've got distributors or brick and mortar stores and whatever, that's, a big part of your business, and maybe Amazon is only 20%, but it's 20% of the 100% of the whole thing. So it still has that importance. If it becomes 40%, 50%, and then it's just contributing to more revenue in the company because you have things in place that will allow that growth. So it's more about, where are your goals and your dreams for this platform? If in a best case scenario, you could be at a certain revenue mark where you're like, this is really where I'd want to be with this, then, it's possible to put the steps in place to get there.
Let's talk about the other set of people and why they are not successful on Amazon. The people who are waiting too long to level up their operations. Tell me about them.
That kind of goes back to the other question of like, I'm just going to try this on my own, or I'm going to do this way, or I'm going to get someone on Fiverr to do it, or and you kind of dance around in this decision-making bubble where there's something called buying fatigue, where you look around, and if it's not an urgent priority in your business, you're going to say, you know what, this is just taking too much of my time. I'm going to leave it for 3 months. And then 3 months comes around. Maybe you explore it again. It's just taking too much. I'm not ready to make the jump. 3 more months. Okay, let's look at those 6 months now. 6 months that your business could have grown in revenue, be 30% in the first month, 20% in the second month, 10% from there on out. You're looking at some significant growth that you could have had in that time, where all it would have costed you is a few minutes on meetings on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, and some interaction on that part of the channel, which you're already spending time in. You're doing it anyways because you're in there and you're with all of your challenges, but you're doing it yourself, or you're doing it with your internal team, or you're doing it with this company, and you're facing the challenges, but you're not getting the solution. And so sometimes it is important to dedicate a period of time, whether it's a week, few days, a day, it's an hour. Okay, these are my criteria. This is what I want to achieve, and I will make sure I make a decision with this period, and that's it. And if I don't, then I should be okay with my business staying completely the same.
I guess the whole point of what we're trying to say is that because you have drunk bad wine does not mean there's no good wine out there. You have to do your due diligence and find one. So, Kai, talk to people who are on the fence about working with growth scalers. What are some of the things they're going to benefit? How different are we as an agency? We could tell them 1001 things, of course, but I'd let you do that.
That's something I get a lot of times, is like, I get some people that'll say, only talk to me if you've got a secret sauce that's going to get us to $100 million a month. And honestly, what is our secret sauce? I think it's the very boring stuff, the consistency, the day in, the day out, checking in with clients, making sure that absolutely every need is being filled, that there's nothing that it goes unheard. We've got great graphic designers. We've got incredible PPC managers. We've got brand managers that are just top notch.
By the way, for those of you who are watching, as we end this particular video, please drop your thoughts in the comments and we would be there to read them. Kai, thank you very much for doing this. Please tell them to subscribe before we leave.
Yes, please subscribe. Let's make this account grow. We'd love to reach more people and help their businesses.